Good afternoon and Happy New Year, everybody. My name's Christy True. I'm the Director of King County's Department of Natural Resources and Parks. Happy to have you here, and it's perfect because the sun's coming out too. This is a really momentous occasion for us to have this milestone today to celebrate the start of the removal of the spikes for these very old and historic rails, and you have an opportunity to look at the other side where we see a trail has been developed in Kirkland and how that might be transformed. In just a moment, you'll hear from King County Executive Dow Constantine, along with several other elected officials who have really been instrumental in getting us to this point in time. Also, several community leaders will be talking about this, who have also been very instrumental in energizing us to get to this stage. I'd also like to we'll be going through the speakers, but I also want to mention the names of a couple of other elected officials who are here. State Representative Joan McBride, who has been very influential, and Deputy Mayor of Bellevue, John Chelmanek. Great, thank you for coming. After our opening remarks, we're going to move and remove that first railroad spike. And celebrate that, and there will be an opportunity for others if you want to step up and try your hand at the spike puller and get your very own spike. You can, although we have many that have been pulled, and everybody can take one of the spikes home. So enjoy that. And then finally, after all of that, Cascade Bike and Kirkland are organizing a tour and a bike ride to go north on the trail here for the afternoon. And it looks like the weather's going to be perfect for that and hopefully warm up. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Dow Constantine.
Well, thank you, Christy, and I am proud that King County is a jurisdiction where our Natural Resources Director wears a backpack even to a press conference. That's the kind of government we are. Always working. In a few minutes, we're going to pull a ceremonial railroad spike, the first in King County's 15.6 miles of the Eastside Rail Corridor. That is going to leave us with only roughly 199,679 spikes to go, but there's a lot of people here. We can put quite a dent in it today. You know, the removal of these few spikes today is well worth celebrating because it marks King County's start in clearing the corridor of these historic but antiquated and unusable rail tracks. Removing the tracks is the next key step toward putting to productive use really this last long unbroken strip of land running north-south in East King County. This corridor will be converted into an incredible public asset, knitting together the growing communities of East and South King County with an integrated transportation and recreation system to rival any in the nation. We can use this corridor to develop the transportation connections and recreational opportunities we need for a growing East Side. And we can preserve our future options for increased transportation capacity here, as well as essential utility services for which this corridor was acquired. Now, once the rails are removed, it's just a short wait until our King County Trail extends south from the Cross Kirkland corridor to the State Route 520 trail. The value of this connection cannot be overstated. Developing our trail here and connecting to those trails means walkers and runners and cyclists will have a dedicated trail they can take from Totem Lake to Montlake, from Google and Microsoft to the University of Washington. Salvaging the rails will generate revenue to help offset the cost of this removal and also support development activities up to and including the creation of the new trail. Planning for the long-term regional trail is underway, and we expect to issue the draft master plan and the draft environmental impact statement next month, and we'll be inviting public comment during that review. But this is not just about developing a major north-south trail from Woodinville to Renton. We're excited this trail will eventually link together 13 major regional trails, from the Burke-Gilman Trail to the Lake to Sound Trail and so many others. A trail within this corridor will convert the patchwork of disconnected trails into a true network for non-motorized transportation and recreation. And the commuting and recreating public will be able to travel through farmlands and forests, through wine country and job centers and cities, maybe not in that order, without ever getting into a car. I credit this accomplishment to the forward thinking of many regional partners working with King County and the Port of Seattle. Partners like Sound Transit, Puget Sound Energy, Redmond, Kirkland, and the neighboring cities of Woodinville and Bellevue and Renton. I also thank the King County Council for its vigorous support in protecting and developing this priceless public passageway. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't also mention my predecessors as King County Executive who championed the preservation of this corridor. Kurt Triplett, who's here today, and longtime executive Ron Sims, who originated this project. Thank them for their work. And I want to thank all of you, everyone who's here today, for your work in making this vision for the Eastside Rail Corridor a reality. And with that, I'd like to introduce our new King County Council member from the 6th Council District, Claudia Balducci, whose district includes much of this rail. Claudia.
Thank you very much, Dow. This is a really unique celebration for me. I have been following and supporting this project for a long time, first as a member of the Bellevue City Council, then as the mayor of the city of Bellevue, as a member of the Sound Transit Board, who owns a portion of the line and is developing a portion to the south of here, and now as a county council member for the district that contains the largest portion of the Eastside Rail Corridor. So I am deeply excited and deeply committed to this project. It will provide an incredible opportunity to the people of our region. As the executive said, for recreation and healthy outdoor activities, as an alternative mode of travel connecting important destinations, and for economic development as great new businesses and existing businesses grow and orient themselves toward this regional trail. I'm really inspired by what has been accomplished so far by the many parties, and you heard them all listed, who have shared a vision of a 42-mile continuous corridor throughout the east side of Lake Washington. It's been a collaborative effort since the very beginning by the governments who made preservation of this trail possible when they purchased the corridor from Burlington Northern Santa Fe in the first place, by cities like Kirkland, and I want to acknowledge I saw the mayor of Kirkland, Amy Wallen, is here, and the city of Redmond, both of whom are blazing the trail in starting the transformation of the portion of the ERC in their cities and making it available to the public already. And by the city of Bellevue, and you'll hear later from my colleague and friend, the new mayor of Bellevue, Mayor John Stokes, for providing the resources needed to advance our trail, our visionary Grand Connection plan in the city of Bellevue, which includes the portion of the ERC in Bellevue. So today we're here to celebrate the next steps in making this vision into a reality. The legislation supporting the removal of the rails unanimously adopted by the County Council is the start of the next phase in making this ERC a reality. Thank you. Thank you for that. It wasn't really an applause line, but I'll take it. This celebration also marks the next step in the public engagement and outreach as we continue the work of developing the Eastside Rail Corridor. We need to continue to work with those already living near the corridor to achieve the current and future potential of the ERC, but also with those who live a quarter of a mile away, a half a mile away, so everybody sees the potential here and everybody circles around to support this vision and getting it made. I'm sorry? A mile away. A mile away, and a mile away, and even more than a mile away. Thank you. We also have to focus on outreach and interaction with these neighborhoods not immediately adjacent to the ERC, so you anticipated my comment. Anyway, thank you all for being here today to help us begin to remove these rails and make this trail a reality. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm happy to introduce my colleague from the King County Council, Councilmember Rod Dembowski, also a great supporter of this trail project.
Good afternoon. My name is Rod Dembowski. I chair the County Council's Transportation, Economy, and Environment Committee. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. I also want to recognize Bellevue City Councilmember Vandana Slaughter, who I think is also joining us. I don't think we got her elected. We try and recognize each other, right? Listen, this opportunity here represents the best of King County as a regional government. And you've heard about the partnerships with our cities and PSE. We started with a partnership with the Port of Seattle, who was instrumental in helping us acquire this with some early money. But this is what partnership can do. And our county executive is going to lead off with pulling out a rail spike. I'm remembering my personal family history. My grandfather was a Boilermaker, learned his trade in the Frisco shops in Missouri, and then came out on the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul Pacific and the Northern Pacific Railroads when they were building these things. And so it's kind of an ironic moment. We're taking it up today, but we're taking out the tracks really to support mobility and to support modern contemporary mobility in an urbanized environment. And today's effort here is going to increase mobility, as the county executive talked about, foot traffic, bicycle traffic, and hopefully in the future, mass transit traffic to keep the region moving. I think in my district, I represent Northeast Seattle and North King County. We have the model of what this can be with the Burke-Gilman Trail and the Sammamish River Trail. And the county executive mentioned the connectivity that we'll eventually have there and our work in South King County with respect to the Lake to Sound Trail. I want to recognize our former county council members, Larry Phillips and Jane Haig, who were longtime leaders in making sure we got here today. They're enjoying retirement today, but they were very important leaders in making sure that we preserved this once, not in a lifetime, not in a generation, but really once in a century opportunity. The last thing I'll say is before I came on the council, I did some legal work for the BNSF Railway. Corridors are very difficult to acquire, and once you got them, you don't want to let them go. And this corridor was at risk of being lost. If these partners did not step up and step in, it would have been parceled off, it would have reverted to adjacent landowners, and you wouldn't have the mobility opportunity, the environmental opportunity, the reduction in carbon opportunity, all of the benefits that it provides. So it's an exciting day. We're modeling Kirkland's way. I'm really excited to have a partner in representing Kirkland on the county council with Claudia Balducci. I turn it over now to the new mayor of Bellevue, my friend, John Stokes.
Thank you, Councilmember Dombowski. I'm very excited to be here today. Good. Want to welcome you to Bellevue. You are in Bellevue now. Kirkland's over there. We've already recognized our other council members here today, John Chalmanak and Vandana Slaughter, and really glad to have her on board, bring a new vision to the community. And John brings a lot of history, so between those two, we're going to get a lot of things done. I'm very pleased that I was elected mayor for two-year term in Bellevue only 5 days ago. And I thought this is really exciting that I'm here, and I can't imagine a better place to be to really start my term than helping remove these railroad tracks. I'm a longtime rail buff, and I have a little pain in pulling up a track, but I know this is for the greater good. And eventually it's going to be even better. But what is exciting right now is what's going to happen to my part of this in Bellevue. I live just about 3 miles down these tracks. It's a little walk, but I can get there. In the Woodridge neighborhood, and I go by, in fact, when I first moved here, I was so excited to see a railroad trestle and to be able to go under it. And it's one of Bellevue's most recognizable landmarks, and it's a gateway to my neighborhood. And so this rail corridor, which comes just a few yards actually from my house, is very important to me. The prospect of seeing this trestle repurposed, and I'm excited to be one of the first ones to go across, actually walk across it, is something in the future with bicyclists and walkers is going to be very exciting. It's a highlight of the Eastside Rail Corridor experience. The corridor is also a tremendous opportunity to add a vital north-south transportation link for pedestrians and bicyclists, connecting people to jobs and connecting recreational trail users to hundreds of acres of Bellevue's beautiful parks. And we talked about the big connections with trails here. We have over 70 miles of trails in Bellevue, and we'll be connecting these, and it's just, again, something that's a catalyst for us to do even more in Bellevue. But of course, and you know, we have Newcastle Beach Park, Mercer Slough, Coal Creek, and the Bellevue Botanical Gardens, and they're all just a step away. So you can spend a day or a week walking through here and through Bellevue. But we have a long, long way to go, and this project will require a very high level of collaboration between public and private entities to get us there. And a sample of that collaboration is on display here today. Kirkland has installed a terrific interim trail, and Bellevue recently added the pedestrian crossing at 108th, which you just walked across, to get here. With that spirit of collaboration, we're here today to help King County and other Eastside Rail partners build on Kirkland's success by extending the trail south into Bellevue. We recently had, just last year, a joint Kirkland Council, Bellevue City Council meeting, and it was so inspiring to us, and we're very appreciative for what the leadership that Kirkland has provided in moving this along. And we came back really energized and saying, okay guys, this is something we need to do. So we're committed on it. On behalf of the Bellevue City Council, we look forward to working with you, turning the vision of an Eastside Trail corridor into reality. I wanted to recognize one person I was going to do at the beginning. Deb Eddy here has been very involved in this process. And Deb is a great asset for this, and we look forward to going with her. Now I want to turn the microphone over to my colleague from the other side of the tracks, where there are no tracks, Kirkland City Council member Jay Arnold.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
Deputy
Stokes.
Mayor, actually, right.
Thank you, sir. One of the early engineers that worked on the internet, Bob Metcalf, coined the term the network effect. It says the value of a network increases exponentially with each connection. It's been demonstrated with the internet, with smartphones, social networks, and it also applies to transportation networks. Kirkland congratulates King County on its decision to remove the rails from the Eastside Rail Corridor. In the short year since Kirkland opened our interim trail just last January, residents have been asking for more connections. And today, King County begins another connection that will expand the value of the rail corridor exponentially. Kirkland also continues to invest in connections. In 2017, when these rails will be gone, we'll also be standing here with a celebration of another great collaborative effort, an elevator that will connect the South Kirkland Park and Ride just across the street here to the trail. With $1 million of capital funds invested by the city of Kirkland, plus money from King County, the state of Washington, and support from the city of Bellevue, this 65-foot elevator will provide convenient and ADA accessible pedestrian and bicycle connections from our transit center and transit-oriented development to this trail network. I encourage you to check the signs out after this celebration and see the schematics of the elevator as it relates to the park and ride. The value of the corridor increases not just with each connection node added, but with each transportation mode added. By working together, we're extending this trail to light rail in Bellevue, and by pursuing our long-held vision of trails and transit, we will turn this corridor into a world-class multimodal transportation facility connecting the east side to the region. And we applaud King County for making this first giant step today towards that region's vision. So connections made through this effort are not just about connecting places, they're about connecting people and partnerships. Leading the way is the Cascade Bicycle Club, and I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Kiker, the Executive Director of Cascade.
It is such an honor to be here. I moved out to this region about 2.5 years ago, and one of the very first things I attended was the rail removal on, as we say, the other side of the tracks. And it is exciting to be here and see it go on for another 15 miles and to see it continue all the way as far as we all know that it will. Cascade was founded in 1970, and one of the very first advocacy initiatives we worked on was the Burt Gilman Trail. And at that time, it was a national standard, and it continues to be an amazing trail. What we're doing here is the next national standard, and is going to really help us build a new way to move, work, and play on the East Side. And Cascade Bicycle Club is thrilled to be here and be a part of it. Thank you. Oh, and I want to introduce, Paul Kuntz, the Washington Director of the Trust for Public Land, who's been a great partner in this process.
The Trust for Public Land would like to thank and congratulate King County Executive Dow Constantine, council members, and staff for their thoughtful planning and diligent work that has brought us to this moment here on this project, and for us to be able to celebrate what we think is the next giant step forward on the East Side Rail Corridor. We too are very excited to be participating in this unique and historic project. For those of you who don't know us, the Trust for Public Land is a national nonprofit organization with a mission to reconnect people to the outdoors by creating parks and trails and conserving land for people to use and enjoy, all to ensure healthy, livable communities for generations to come. We've been working with all of these partners up here for the last several years on the corridor and recognize so many benefits that I won't repeat. One of the benefits of being at the end of the line is you can shorten your speech here. But one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, we see this corridor as a means to reduce carbon emissions and traffic congestion in this area by getting people out of their cars and onto this corridor so that adults can find better ways to get to work and children to school and playgrounds in the region. The Trust for Public Land has a national goal for everyone in America to live within a 10-minute walk of a park or a trail, public garden, or open space. And this project here is going to greatly advance that goal. We have calculated that more than 29,000 people live within a 10-minute walk of just the King County portion of this trail. In addition, there are thousands of people who work within that 10-minute walk at companies like Eddie Bauer, Group Health, Overlake Hospital, just to name a few. If you look at the entire 42-mile corridor, there's over 200,000 people that live within or work within a short distance of the corridor. If you think further down in the future, way out in the future, with a little extra work, we can extend this trail in Renton to the Boeing facility and to Microsoft up in Redmond. And with all of that, I think really demonstrates, these numbers demonstrate the tremendous impact this corridor is going to have on our community and this region. The Trust for Public Land has had the good fortune to work with like-minded governments and nonprofit organizations to complete 47 Rails to Trails projects around the country. Most recently, the 606 Trail in Chicago and the Newark Riverfront project in New Jersey. We look at these types of projects as linear park systems, not just trails, because they have so much potential to serve so many other purposes. We believe the East Side Rail Corridor has tremendous potential to be one of those types of parks. In fact, it's already happening here. In the city of Redmond, the city has created a park at the beginning of its link to the East Side Rail Corridor. Google has wrapped a park around the East Side Rail Corridor that goes through the heart of its campus. There's going to be opportunities to bring all sorts of park-like amenities, from benches to artwork to more elaborate elements to this as we go forward. So we're excited to be working with all of these partners. We look forward to that and creating a really wonderful place for people to meet, to travel, and to play. And with that, I'll turn this over to Bill Finkbinder, who wears many hats. Today, he is speaking as a businessman and a community activist on behalf of this project. Thank you.
Hey, what a way to start 2016, huh? Hey, this is exciting. This is a really neat opportunity for me to be here today, especially because I grew up about 2 miles north of here. My family moved to Kirkland when I was 6 years old, and I remember one of the things that I was most excited about was the fact that we were going to have a train going through our backyard. It was pretty cool. We'd be able to go out there and we'd wave to the engineer. We'd put pennies on the tracks, and after the train would run them over, they'd sort of pancake out. It was a little different time in Kirkland. And one of the other differences is this train track also ran past a company called Sidorco. I don't know if you guys remember that. Sidorco was actually a door manufacturer. They built and painted doors in Kirkland. They had a great big warehouse in there. And the reason they located there is because they could ship their doors in and out and, get the raw materials they needed. And also at the time, it was relatively inexpensive land because people didn't want to be near the railroad tracks because it was loud. Sidorco, the property that it was on, is now today the Google campus. And you look at the Google campus and the way they've incorporated the Cross-Kirkland corridor and the rail corridor into their campus, because their employees are asking for exactly that. They're saying we want alternative ways to get to work and to get home and to take our kids to school and to get to the grocery store. And that's what you're seeing a lot of these days for tenants, for workers, for renters, for home buyers. That's what people are looking for. That's why you're seeing in Bellevue with the Spring District, with the integration of the bike and pedestrian aspects of the corridor and also the light rail aspects, the delivery of light rail to the Spring District from the corridor. That's why you're seeing Microsoft's interest in the 520 trail and the connection that this will make there. So I think there's really, along with all the great benefits that people have talked about, there's really some great economic opportunities here and some opportunities to really change the way that we live and work and travel here on the East Side. So it's just really an exciting day here, and let's get this thing ripped out, Christy. All right.
Okay, everybody ready?
Not too hard.
Go! Hey, there it is. Okay, get to work, all of you. There you go. Thank you very much.